welcome back to the Centered Yarnist. My name is Hannah. I'm coming to you from Fredericksburg, Virginia, where I live with my 6 kids, senior dog, and cat. Today is April 9th, so just a day after the big eclipse, and it is definitely feeling like spring today. I think we're almost in the 80s, and I am loving it. You can find me on Instagram at the Centered Yarnist, and my email address is thecenteredyarnist@gmail.com. So my aim was to be here once a month to talk about my knitting, but it's actually been closer to 2 months, so I'm going to try to do better about that. But I guess we will jump in. What I'm wearing I did not make, but it is my favorite sweater cardigan of this year. Go figure. So I got this on clearance actually at a store, and I was like, well, if I don't like it, it was cheap, so no big deal. But it's my favorite, and I have tried to model everything that I've made since I got it off of this because I absolutely love the way it fits. So in my last video, I was talking about my Valentine's Day cardigan that I wanted to get finished, and I did finish it. However, I hated it because I was trying to model the fit after this one, and I made some mistakes. Definitely not pattern mistakes. They were mistakes that I made on my own, and then I had to go back and fix them. So let's see, the pattern is the Home Cardigan Lite by Caidree, and I have done this pattern before in, it was another wool. I think it was an undyed wool. But this one is definitely not my normal color palette, so I did want it for a special occasion. So this is Wool of the Andes, worsted weight in Dragonfruit. Let's see. There we go. And here she is. So I think the size is perfect. I believe I did a large in this one, and it's a drop shoulder design. It's supposed to have lots of positive ease in it. And let me tell you about my mistakes. So what I like about this sweater, oh, I'm gonna have to take a picture of it and put it up here, but I like, it's not cropped. It hits just below my waist, and go figure, this one has like balloon sleeves, which I swore that I did not like. Turns out I do. This is made of an acrylic, so I understand that it like works differently than a wool. But what my problem was here is that in the past I've had trouble with bind offs, and everything will be perfect, and then I'll go to bind off and it's too tight. So like when you stretch out the bottom, like it just doesn't stretch. So the rest of the sweater's here, and the bottom band is like this, and it won't go any farther, even with blocking. So what I do is I overcompensate, and I try to make sure that my bind offs are not tight, because I know that I have tight bind offs. So for the bottom band, which does seem to be fine on this, for the bottom band, what I did was I went up a needle size or two, just to make sure that it was stretchy enough. But then I did the same thing after I picked up all of these stitches. I did the same thing on the collar and the button band. That's how I bound off. So what it did was it made it super long, and it made it lay terribly. So like the front ended up hanging lower than the back, and it just looked frumpy to me. Like, you know, if you were to like buy it in a store, it would be fine. If your friend was wearing it, it would be fine. But I find when I knit my own clothes, I'm super picky and critical of it. So what I had to do was go, and I had a feeling when I was binding it off, I knew, and I still kept going because I was determined to wear this on Valentine's Day. So I left it easy to pull out, which is what I did. I pulled it out. I did the bind off that it called for in the pattern, which was like a 1x1 Italian bind off, which I had never done before. And what do you know? Caidree, the pattern writer, knew what she was talking about. So this is just tight enough to where like the rib doesn't look stretched, and it does kind of bring it in and gather it a little bit. So it gives it more of a cropped version versus like a, I don't know, a frumpy version where it falls over and it's like longer in the front. So sometimes it's best to just follow the patterns. I feel like I've knitted garments for a decent amount of time, so sometimes I feel like my ideas are better, and that's not always the case. Especially if I'm not wanting to like learn a new skill like the Italian bind off, I might just say, oh, hey, I'm just going to go ahead and handle this. And really, you know, it's always good to learn something new, try something new, and then you come out with what the designer intended. So that's my first finished object. I have no idea when I'm going to wear this. Possibly next Valentine's Day, especially because it is getting warmer, so I doubt I'm going to be in 100% wool cardigan until the fall. And then these aren't exactly fall colors, so maybe Valentine's Day next year will work. So that's my first finished object. My second finished object is the Framework Bralette by Jessie Maed Designs. So I started trying to conquer summer knits last year, I think, is when I really kind of dug into them. And everything I was making for a summer knit was turning out horribly. And I feel like summer knits are much more tight-fitting than fall, spring, and winter knits. So there's definitely not as much positive ease. And then I have difficulty finding like summer yarns, like plant-based yarns. So this one I was really hoping was going to work out. And it did. I made it to pattern. The pattern was fabulous. And here we go. Let's see. And I think it's, yeah, that's the back. I think the back actually looks more cohesive because of the colors on the, I don't know, these back triangles. But yes, now this pattern, I've done a couple of Jessie Maed patterns before, and this pattern I thought was phenomenal because like when you're coming up here, so you do the ribbing, and when you're coming up here, depending on your breast shape, depends on when you start these triangles. And so I was really trusting the pattern, right? Because I learned my lesson from the other cardigan. I was trusting the pattern and went along with all of her suggestions, and it fits perfectly. I wish more patterns had information on like boob shaping, breast shaping, especially when it comes up to like a tank top. So the yarns that I used, let's see, I held 2 yarns together. I'm not sure what this one is. But I believe this is like a bamboo pop, I think is what it's called. So this is a bamboo yarn, and I feel like it's a bit stretchy. But I lost the ball band on this a while ago because I started to make, what did I make? I started to make a tank top with it, but it was like see-through because it was so thin. It's a fingering weight yarn. I intended to do socks with it, and then I realized that I don't like bamboo socks because they make my feet feel cold. So I held that together with the wool like. It's a simply wool that you can get from Michael's. And this one's a light fingering or a lace weight as well. So I held these two together to create like a DK weight. So I'm hoping this one is acrylic, and I'm hoping that it's still cool with the bamboo. It will feel cool. But this one, I don't typically wear like crop tops or bralettes out. So the idea with this one is to like sleep in it, or I think it would look good under that hot pink cardigan. But I'm not sure when I'm going to need to be crop top cool and wool warm. So anyway, I definitely recommend this pattern, and I actually have some wool like in black, and I definitely want to make myself a black one. I could see myself making this over and over again. Yeah, it's fabulous, and I actually thought about using up the rest of this to make a matching one for my daughter, because I know that she would love it. So yes, I recommend. Super soft, super cute, and the pattern was phenomenal. Even if you just take the wisdom of like the boob shaping and put it in your other patterns, I definitely think it's well worth it. Yep. And then, see, my final finished object is, it's called the Tip Top Tank. You see, it's called the Tip Top Tank by Emily Boldaun. And this is a free pattern on Ravelry. And I used, let's see, Lion Brand Coboo. Yep. And I wear a lot of black, a lot of neutral colors. So I really, for summer, I really want to make just some staples in the colors that I normally wear. So I made this, and this is partially another one of those things where I went my own direction and it's not going to be working out. So here's the finished object. So it's done for sure. So the mistakes that I made are I started this in one size larger than my bust circumference. And then what I was going to do, which I don't know if you can see it here, but I took the stitches down right before I started the triangles. I took the stitches down to the correct amount, but I wanted to make sure that it was still flowy on bottom. My hips are wider than my bust circumference. So something that fits here is going to stretch at my hips. And I know that, and that's fine. And that's why we make changes, right? This, however, somehow, now I checked my gauge on this. I didn't do a gauge swatch. So what I do is I start going, and then once I get to just the flat part of the stockinette, I will measure my gauge and make sure that I'm good. And so I hit gauge. Everything was great. And somehow this ended up 4 inches wider. 4 inches wider than anticipated. Which I was not expecting. So I shortened the straps. Because those were supposed to be longer. And so the V came down probably to like right here. And still fine. This is a cool, nice and cool, because it's like a cotton and bamboo. It's nice and cool. So I decided to wear it. And I actually wore it under this here cardigan. And what I noticed within the first 2 or 3 minutes of movement, like, I had boobs hanging out. They were just hanging out. And I was like, oh no, this isn't going to work. So, as painful as it is, and see, it's deceiving because it looks like it's going to, it looks like it's going to cover, but it really doesn't. Like, maybe with the weight and then the movement, it just shows off too much. So what I'm going to do is I am going to rip this back, and then I'm going to go down probably 2 sizes to make this work. I have really enjoyed the Coboo. So I think some of my problem last year, I had gauge issues on summer knits. And then I also had like, I mainly had cotton that I was trying to use for summer knits. And I have, after racking my brain and searching the internet, I have found that a lot of people use blended yarn and it has some extra stretch to it. So while this one doesn't, I don't really feel like this. Maybe it's a little stretchy. I don't really feel like it's too stretchy. But I love the fabric that this makes. I love that it's like not shiny. I have a thing against shiny yarn, I think. And I love the way it feels, and it's super cool. It is heavy. It does feel heavy for a tank top. So that is a 2 rip out. And I will say that I went back to the store because the Coboo was on sale, and I was just going to buy more black because for some reason the process of ripping stuff out is just extremely painful. But they didn't have it, so I will have to go in and reclaim this yarn and reknit it. But if you're looking for a basic tank pattern, I think this one is fabulous. It comes with the wide straps, so it definitely does hide a bra strap, which I love. Yep. So, yeah, take it down 2 sizes, undo it, reknit it, and we'll be in business. Let's see. And then I guess that's it for, oh no, wait. I have 2 more almost finished objects. I don't know what we're calling those. Now they're almost finished because I also have problems with doing finishes on the things that I make. So they are both the same pattern. It is called Chasing Summer Tank by Janine Myska. I got it on Ravelry. And this is a crochet pattern. I think I have been knitting for probably 10 years, actively knitting. But I've been crocheting since I was maybe a preteen. Crochet comes naturally to me. I feel like I understand it. I love it. And till one day I was like, okay, I have to master knitting too. So these are both crocheted. Let me see. Let's see if I can show you the yarn that I used. Okay. So this one it's a cotton merino that I got from Hobby or Hobby, however you say that. This is one of the ones when I went out looking for summer yarns that I saw people recommend a cotton merino. And since I didn't do in my ends, I think I can kind of show you so this is bouncy. It has some stretch to it, and a cotton merino blend is what was used in the pattern. So here she is. Okay. Yeah, and I learned a new crochet skill on this one as well. This one starts out, you do both front panels first, and in the center here is where you start, and you do foundational double crochets. And yeah, that's super easy, and I'd never done it before. I have very limited number of crocheted garments, so I do like a pattern that that uses crochet that turns out nice. So this pattern, I believe this pattern was free too in its DK version. And then there is a fingering version that's a paid for pattern. I could have those swapped, but yeah, I do think that's correct. So this one, you make the 2 triangle panels here. You attach them. So you make your 2 triangle panels, attach them, and then you start going on the back. You just crochet your back panel down. So this one's done. It worked up super fast, and all I have to do is get rid of these pesky ends, and then look, I think it will be fabulous under my sweater. So, and then of course, if that works, you might as well do a second one in black. So this is number 2. And let's see, the gauges on these were different. I wasn't too concerned about it, except for these front panels. So my main concern was length of my torso and then width to make sure I could get everything covered that needed to be covered. And then kind of the back is where you do the overall width. So I just needed to make sure that the front was completely covered up to under my armpit, and then the back you can handle changing the width. So this yarn is a little bit different, and it is fatter. It is a fatter yarn. This one's also from Hobie, and it is a cotton and silk blend. Let's see. Yep, so it's called Papyrus, and it is 78% cotton and 22% silk. So this is bumpy. I don't know if you can, oh yeah, you can. This one's bumpy, but it is super soft. And again, all I have to do to this one is tie in the ends, and she's ready to go. And again, I think it looked great under this cardigan. So those are finished objects, mostly finished. I'm just kind of lazy when it comes to the finishing. I don't know why we don't want to wear these. Yeah. And then I have 2 active works in progress that I'm working on. Let's see, this first one is called the Flair Free Cardigan by Sharon Hartley. So this one, I was looking for a fingering weight cardigan pattern because I thought that would be a good transition piece from winter to spring. And I know for sure I'm not going to have this done in a weather appropriate time to wear this year. And that's okay. This was, I think this was like a boredom cast on because I actually had the yarn in stash, which is amazing. Let's see, this one is twill fingering in Rosewater Heather. It's 100% superwash merino, and this is a Knit Picks yarn. I got this on sale just because I loved the color. And yeah, I finally found a use for it. But I would love a pink cardigan. So here's where we are. Yep. So not a whole lot of progress because this one does take, I feel like it takes a long time, or maybe because I know I'm not going to be able to wear it this year. It's kind of my last thing to pick up. But I absolutely love the color, and I think it's going to be great with, you know, black or brown underneath. So, and I think the pattern is wonderful. The pattern comes with a curvy version or a traditional version. And so I thought I was going to be knitting the curvy version because, again, like my hips are bigger than my bust size. But apparently curvy means if you have a large bust size and then it, you know, comes in, that's what their version of curvy means. So I'm doing the traditional, and I'm not sure if it's fingering weight cardigans or I'm not quite sure, but this one, I don't know if they tend to flare, but this one says flare free. So I feel certain that the cardigan will not flare, or maybe they were saying like no fuss cardigan. I'm not sure, but I am almost done my first messy ball, and I'll be on to my second one, and I cannot wait. I can't wait to wear this. So, yeah. Again, probably next year, but. And then my final work in progress. I think you'll see a theme to all of these. This is another home cardigan Lite by Caidree. Now, if you can't tell that I'm trying to mimic what I have on, I don't know what to tell you. Here it is. So I'm using Coboo again. Thank heavens for sales, right? And just last night did I join... Wait, how does this work? Just last night I joined, not in the round, but I connected under... Yeah, under the sleeves. So this is, you know, the same as the pink one. It's a drop shoulder. And I'm doing this out of cotton and bamboo, hoping that this also will be a transition piece from winter to summer. I do know that the drape is going to look completely different. I mean, you can already kind of tell. I think it's going to lay flatter and closer to your skin. But this one is probably the one I will finish next because I'm so excited about it. So, yeah. Let me see. I'm trying to think of other plans that I have. I think my next summer knits are just going to be kind of re-knitting some of the patterns that I have that either didn't work out or that I loved and I want in a different color. So yeah, I think those are my next plans. So I think I'm going to wrap it up here. I will try to include like some pictures of, you know, finished objects and things in the video and on my Instagram. I might pop back on and do an acquisition section, and once I plan better, I am going to do like a book and media section. But I guess that won't start today, and we'll see if I can do the acquisition section and tag it on to the end of this video. But thank you for watching, and I can't wait to be back with you next time. Let's see, at April 9th, Maryland Sheep and Wool is in a couple of weeks, and in my brain, I have penciled in to go, and I know I need to just commit and make the plans to go, but it's within driving distance for me. I think my only hesitation is I have a daughter's birthday that falls on a Wednesday right before Maryland Sheep and Wool. So I have to see what her birthday plans are going to be, and then either Saturday or Sunday. I don't think I'm going to go both days, but I would like to go at least one day. I don't have any like plans of things that I need to buy, or, you know, places I need to visit to buy things, but I think the overall experience will be amazing. I've gone to the Shenandoah Fiber Festival in the fall, and I absolutely love that one. It's so big. But I know that like Maryland Sheep and Wool is like one of like the holy grails for fiber festivals, and so I feel like it would be a great experience. Um, so if I do that, watch out for more videos and more pictures. And yeah, thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Hi, I'm back. I just wanted to do a quick acquisition portion real quick because I will not have acquisitions every episode. Budget-friendly yarns are extremely important to me. I used acrylic for the longest time, and then I realized, thanks to the internet, that if you find the right sites and you wait for the sales, you can actually buy, they're still like commercially made, but you can buy more expensive yarns for a really good price. So when I was looking into summer knits, I went to Hobbii, HOBBII.com. I think most people have heard of that. Knit Picks is my go-to, my first go-to. But I didn't feel like they had a lot by way of summer yarns. So I went to Hobbii, and they were having a sale. And so I bought several balls, skeins, whatever, to work out some of my summer knits. So most of these are DK weight because the patterns that I'm interested in are mostly DK. And these are also blended yarns. And I was going to show these to you before I use them, but that didn't happen. So the first one is called Papyrus. It is 78% cotton and 22% silk. Let me just make sure. I think this one has, it's like OzTech certified. Maybe this one isn't. Anyway. But it is 131 yards for 50 grams. Let's see. And I love this yarn. It's a basic black. It's very soft. It is very soft. I think anytime you can put silk in a yarn, yeah, that's a good one. So if you can get it in black, oh, I guess these are a little bit different. You should probably get it in pink too. This one, let's see, it's called Papyrus, but it's Chewek CPH. Oh, no, it is a little different. I guess maybe it's like a spin-off of Papyrus, because the pink is 77% cotton and 23% silk. Let's see. Ooh. How do people do that? Make it focus. Okay. Oh, there it is. And I think it's still backwards, the words, but yeah. So I have these. They're both DK weight. I think the pink I want to use to make a summer top, but I'm not sure which one yet. I think I've been looking at doing another love note, or I'm not sure, but I definitely do want this to be a top, I think. A basic throw on. I think I could wear pink a lot. And then I've already used up a couple of balls of the black for that tank top. This one you have seen too, because I made a tank top out of it. It is cotton merino. Okay, this one is, I believe, a sport weight. They don't put, I found that Hobbii doesn't put the weight on there. They put the gauge. Like, you kind of have to figure this out yourself. I probably should have held this double to get a DK gauge. But let's see, this one is 186 yards for 50 grams. This one is super soft too. And this one is muesling free, however you say that. So it's basically cruelty free. And it's made in Turkey. They do have another one of this that is a DK or a worsted. But they were sold out of that. So I went with this one. Okay. And then this one's fun. This one is not as stretchy. I thought working with stretchier yarns might help solve some of my summer knit problems that I had last year. This is new Arizo. Okay, and it is 33% linen, 47% bamboo, and 20% cotton. It is 50-gram ball, and it's 150 meters. It doesn't actually give the yardage. This one is a fingering weight, though. I do remember that. So I can either use this, find a fingering weight pattern, or hold it double for DK. But I just thought I would try a bunch of different fibers for summer knitting and see what stuck. This one I'm excited about, and I'm not sure why. This one is called Go Handmade Vintage. Ooh. Here we go. And it is a wool and bamboo mix. It's light beige. It is 70% wool and 30% bamboo. And I believe this one's a DK weight too. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with this one. If you can tell, it really looks and feels woolly. Of course, when you put it up here, it looks shiny like bamboo. So, I don't know. I think like right here, you can see where it... This one feels like it's going to be hot. So, I'm not quite sure what to do with this one yet. But I think she's pretty. So I have 3 of them. Hopefully that's enough to get a tank top or a top done. And then finally, when I was placing my order, I always look in like the clearance section just to see if there's something that, you know, is a really good price that I want to try. And I never say no to sock yarn. So I got their Halloween sock wool. I think it was leftover from this past year, obviously, and made in Turkey, superwash wool, and it's a 75-25, so 75% wool, 25% polyamide, and I just thought the colors were pretty, and I don't feel like they look Halloween-y, but yeah, so eventually that will be a pair of socks, and comes in 100 grams, so that'll definitely knock out a pair of socks. So yeah, I just wanted to show you my recent acquisitions, and again, I won't have a ton all the time because I do wait for those sales, and I do things within my budget for my self-care practice. But yeah, who doesn't love looking at pretty yarn? All right, thanks. I'll see you next time.